Welcome to Selfish Confidence, a place where we can connect and be real about how hard it is to be your damn self. My name is Jess, and my goal is to help you build confidence and belief in yourself to live any life path you want, even if it's unconventional. It's time to flip off societal pressures and connect with women who've also felt on the outside by their life choices. We're here to encourage you to grab the mic and speak your truth. I know it can be scary, but we're in this together. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Selfish Confidence Podcast. It's Jess here, and I was about to get up, warm up my coffee, maybe pump a little bit before hopping on to record with you today, but my pets are so peacefully hanging out, and the babe is with dad, and so I'm just not disturbing anything. I think if I get up, anybody else feel this? Like you get up and everybody wants something. That's the moment. Even pets, like my pets, it's like as soon as I get up, they're like, hey, oh, you're getting up? I'll go to the bathroom and maybe grab a snack. And how about I have a second lunch? And I said, you know what? We're going to keep the cold coffee over here. We are going to let these, ladies that I got be a little full for a little bit. And we're going to just sit down and record while everything is so peaceful. And I don't think I realize how grateful I am for this silence when I used to be able to record. And you know this, I've been recording even when I started 2 episodes a week, then it moved to 1 episode a week. And now we're typically 1 episode a week, but sometimes it doesn't always happen because my time to record is this pocket. And last week I didn't get an episode out because my pocket was at the retreat. And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. But it's like you have these moments and the peace. And I always took that for granted because my house was always so quiet, except for the moment that my dog needed a W, and I can't even say the word because she's sleeping. But yeah, it just blows my mind how much my life has changed in a year. It doesn't take much. My sisters, if you want to change your life, you can do it really quickly. And sure, I did that by getting pregnant. But I also did that years ago with even, performing activities to do this, the year of confidence, right? The year of confidence completely transformed my life from, a really dark season to speaking on stages and hosting retreats. I did my first retreat right after my year of confidence. So in a year, I went from walking away from a network marketing business that just was no longer serving me to speaking on stages and executing retreats. I don't know. It still blows my mind. It still blows my mind that was 2021, 2022 when I hosted my first retreat. And now here we are. I wanted to give you a recap today after the 5th selfish retreat. Whoa. Just whoa. I think I need to even pause this podcast and just take a second to soak that in because I'm not sure I've had a moment to even fully understand what just happened last weekend at the 5th retreat, and that I've also done 5 retreats, and that I'm also doing this as a mom because Jess, who started this podcast and Jess, who started hosting retreats, I don't think she ever visualized a life of retreats and being a mom at the same time. And it was next level. This retreat was next level. And I think there's a couple reasons for that. A big one being last year I hosted my first international retreat in Barbados, and it was a week long, and I didn't think I could ever execute a week-long retreat. But what I learned from that, I incorporated so deeply even into this weekend retreat that it changed the energy, it changed the dynamic, it changed my energy and how I executed things. And it just was so beautiful, like a really beautiful experience. Whereas before I would jam pack so many things into the weekend, almost making it you'd have no room to breathe or too much room to breathe. It really took me to figure out what the best combination was. And I think we pulled that off. There's a few things that I've been seeing from the feedback forums that I could adjust and shift around. And again, I think That's my favorite thing about these retreats, is that I never let it be like it had to be perfect in order for me to put one on. I did it messy from the beginning, and I've been learning with every single one what I could do better or what I could do differently or how I could help this person, because everyone sees it so differently, right? How I can help this person and this person in one space. Like, how can I make it work with different personalities and different energies and what different people need? And it has just been so much fun to see all those pieces come together. Maybe you're listening to this and you're like, okay, Jess, great. You hosted another retreat. Good for you. What are you going to talk to me about today? And I really wanted to talk to you just about a recap of the retreat, some of the things that we did, and also some really big breakthroughs that I had that helped me to see this whole season a lot differently. And maybe you're in a season 2 where you just had no idea that you could ever be in this moment. You never pictured life where you are. Maybe it's back when you were in high school and you're like, where am I going to be in 10 years? And you think 10 years from when you graduated was like when you're 27. And now Glenn and I were just watching the Sneaky Link show on Netflix. That's where we are. We had like a few moments last night. And we were like, let's watch the Sneaky Links. And some of the people in that show are like 27, 28, 29. And you're like, they're just babies, right? You just have these moments of realizing, maybe you're listening to this too, and you're like, I'm only 27. I love that. It just sometimes surprises you on how much can change in your life in a short period of time and also in a long period of time. So you were in high school and your teachers are like, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10 years? And you can't even see your life. It's so blurry, 10 years. And I think a lot of the women who were at this retreat are in that season where you're just like, I didn't picture myself here. I pictured a totally different version of who I'd be or where I'd be or what I'd be doing. And some people come to these retreats for a weekend to enjoy some girl time, to get away from the kiddos and just not have to worry about cooking, not have to worry about anything other than being present and hanging out. And some come for transformation, some come for space, some come for the camaraderie of friendships and being around other women. Like, we all have different reasons for being there. And I think that's why I love these retreats so much, is that it's not just a one size fits all. It's not just for one particular person looking for this one particular outcome. Everybody comes for different reasons and they all leave with different things. And I think that's one of the biggest breakthroughs for me when it comes. I used to put so much emphasis in the beginning, especially those first and second retreats, of transformation, making an impact. And that transformation, your transformation and impact, reflected something about me, right? It was like, I was a good host, or I am a good coach or a good person if you have this outcome, if you have this opinion when you walk away. And I think being able to shift that in my mind a little bit more every single retreat to be about the person who's coming and not about me, it has really helped to take a lot of stress off my shoulders, and also has helped me to support the women coming in the way that they need it. Like I said, every single person needs something different, which can be really difficult if you think about it. You're like, I'm hosting this one thing, but as a projector too in the human design space, I can see what people need and help and guide them and support them in the direction, whatever that looks like. And it can be really, really simple. Like, for some people, I know they come, for the aspect of having really delicious meals and having food. Okay, I can provide that. I can make that happen. And same with, some people coming for that rest, that space, that relaxation. Okay, I can provide that. This retreat, we had a really great balance of it all. And it was probably my first retreat I've hosted. And again, this is my 5th. The first retreat I've hosted that I wasn't that stressed or that nervous about. And I think a couple reasons for that was, one, location. I did it at Oceanstone Resort. If you're not familiar, it's here in Nova Scotia. It's right on the water. It's absolutely stunning. And they recently just built in this beautiful state-of-the-art spa. And I always knew I wanted to do one here, but I was like, I don't know if I can execute it. It's going to be a little bit pricier. But knowing the season, for me, having a baby, I can't cook all the meals like I used to do. I can't, prep all the accommodations like I used to do. I just didn't know what life was going to look like. I announced this retreat at Speak Up, my in-person live event that happened in the fall, and I was pregnant, 22 weeks pregnant, I think, at the time. And I had no idea what life with a baby was going to look like, especially life with a 4-month-old. And I thought I would do it at a space where I didn't have to worry or think about as much. Oceanstone was the best space for that. Not only do they have a beautiful restaurant that I could order takeout from, or order meals from, that took some stress off of my plate, but also they had event catering, which was really great, and they delivered it right to our cabin. Oh my gosh, chef's kiss. Like, that was just took something off my plate that I didn't have to think about. It also had the beautiful spa on site that we could go through and cycle through the hydrothermal journey, the hot, the cold. Oh my gosh, the river walk, which was like this beautiful pebbled path. The saunas, they had a wet and a dry sauna. They had multiple hot tubs, a cold plunge, the river walk. Some of the girls got spa treatments, facials, massages. It was just really great to have that space so close. And we also did multiple cabins. It was my first time doing multiple cabins because I wanted the women who were coming who wanted more space, like a room to themselves, for them to have that opportunity. And also, if you wanted to share space because you enjoy that, chatting with your roommate kind of vibe, there was also room for that. And it was so perfect. It was a really perfect weekend, and we had a great balance of slow activities and busyness, and just a really wonderful experience for a retreat, and my first retreat as a mom, because again, I had no idea what it could look like or if I could pull it off. I knew I would do it regardless of if I was in the trenches with my baby. I knew I could do it. Because again, having multiple cabins, I had my own cabin just in case my husband, Glenn, had to come out with the baby. And they did for the second night. First night, it was my first night away from little babes. And there's just something about the experience that taught me I could do both. And for so long, I didn't know if I could. And through my whole pregnancy, I questioned that so deeply. And even in these last few months, I didn't know if and how it would look and how it would work out. But now that I've experienced it, I had this great breakthrough of being able to see I could do both. And I won't sit here and say I can easily do both. It takes conscious choice and conscious effort for sure. But because I have such a wonderful community and support system around me, one of the women who came, who all love babies and all had the opportunity to hold my little guy and to love on him and to meet him, which was just so fun. And also a wonderful partner who supports me and loves me and would show up however I needed in this space, who he also has great support from his family around that to be able to help him in the season of, being a solo parent for the weekend. And it's just like really great to see our communities come together to execute this weekend retreat. And so, we had spa activities. We did watercolor painting with ocean water, which in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so fun. It was a little cold and a little drizzly, but it was still so beautiful. We lit the fire. We had like this nice moment of watercolor painting with ocean water. And I really wanted to encompass the elements of fire and water and air and all of the things. And it was just so nice to see it play out. And so, we watercolor painted, we did some meditations, we had some great lessons where I incorporated human design and different centers in your human design, whether that was self-worth. We talked really deeply about self-worth. We talked about the stress and the creativity centers where we were able to do some watercolor painting and have fun with that. We also talked about intuition and how we can really use our intuition to navigate decisions in our lives. And this was all written in their blueprints and their human design. And instead of it being like the standard, hey, this is your human design, this is your type, figure it out, blah, 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 this is who you are. It was very much like, hey, what are these centers? If they're open or defined, what are they telling you? And instead of going from like all of them from your crown to your root, we really just picked a couple and used those as our learning lessons and our pillars for the whole weekend. And I wanted the women to walk away from this weekend heartful, restful, like Full. I wanted them to be so rested, whereas I've always put this heavy emphasis on transformation in some of my previous retreats. And maybe you've been and you're like, yeah, some of those could have been really intense. I actually wanted to focus on rest, and I knew the women coming needed maybe a weekend of space and rest, and the things and the transformation that can come from us having rest and slowing down can be huge. But it could also be walking away with this like this deep restoration and this feeling of, really giving yourself that space. And that's what I wanted it to be focused on, filling these women with love and having their heart be so full as they left, and also letting them have the time for rest, letting them have the space to be. And if transformation came from that, great. And if it didn't and they walked away rested and feeling loved, that was top notch for me. Like, that was the number one thing I wanted them to feel. And I think I executed that. I think that it was really just a really beautiful weekend. And we wrapped it up with some breath work, and we also went out to Peggy's Cove and had lunch as a new little family. And it was just so, so sweet. The adventure aspect, the rest aspect, the fun, like watching these women just like looking for sea glass and seashells on the beach. Like, one of my favorite things about retreats is just people aren't typically on their phones a whole lot. They're often put away somewhere, or you just see phones lying around and people having conversations, and it not being about being plugged in or missing a moment, it being so deeply about just being there and allowing space to hang out, to look for sea glass and to paint and to, spend some time in the hot tub and talking about life. And it's just like, a really, really beautiful experience. And having it at Oceanstone made me realize that I could probably do more, because back in my first, second, and third retreat, I hand cooked every meal. I planned every activity. I did it all. And because of that, I could keep the cost like really, really low. It was a lot on me. And if you were at those retreats and you're listening to this, you're like, yeah, I could see. It was just, I was so scattered and so busy and a lot more stressed because I was doing it all. And I remember I had done, I think it was at Boss Talk with my friend Geneva, we had done a couple in-person live podcasting events about business. And I remember her asking me about, with every retreat, essentially they've doubled in price. And she said, yeah, and with that price, it changes the quality of people who buy the ticket, right? And I was like, oh yeah, of course. Yeah, duh. Because in the coaching industry, I think a lot of people put that emphasis on it. If you charge higher, a different level of person is going to come to that. And now, as I sit here, and I've been thinking about this so much lately, and I feel really emotional as I think about it, it makes me sick to my stomach, that thought of value and quality coming from price, and me thinking that had to do with the person showing up. What has changed in these retreats is not the person or the people who are booking them. They're not valuing the quality more, or like even the value of the person more. It has to do with the value of the event, the quality of the event, I should say, not even value, the quality. Because first event, I was cooking everything by hand and executing it. And again, this was 4 years ago with my first retreat, and everybody was sharing beds, which I have just learned, and my mindset has changed so much on. And it's just, so much has changed in the quality of the retreat, not the quality of the people who are coming. And I think, again, this just comes from challenging and seeing this industry in a different light, maybe not the same way that everybody sees it. And in the beginning, going with the grain of what people thought when it came to creating a retreat space, what I was going to teach and what we were going to do, and doing it by the book. Same thing even with Speak Up, with my in-person event, doing it the way that I thought that I should. And now here we are 5 retreats in, and I can see it so differently because I want to do it the way that I want to do it, and also how I feel the people in my community who are a different kind of woman, okay? Like the people who come to these are just next level in the incredible people that they are. Whether that was the first retreat or the 5th retreat, these women are just incredible on so many levels and see things and do things differently. But yeah, of course, things have changed and grown. And I still feel so much guilt, I think, in seeing it that way in the beginning. Or if anyone had ever heard that from me, being like, Jess, what? It has nothing to do with the quality of the women who come to the events. All of them have been so fulfilling. It's more the quality of the event itself has changed and elevated for sure. From me cooking it in my kitchen and you sharing beds with a stranger, to being able to book your own rooms and having them catered, and me being able to be fully present. And I think Barbados really taught me that by having a chef and a cleaner on site. So I didn't have to think about those things at all. It was just next level for me to be able to be present, to spend time with the women there, to really connect one-on-one, and just, see things come to light in a very different way than they could have in the beginning. And I think that's why with my very first retreat, I was charging $350 for a weekend, whereas the more recent, and even Barbados, having higher prices for sure. And so that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And there's so many repeat retreaters because I think of this. So if you ever heard me say that, that is just silly Jess and coaching industry getting so messy in your brain. And I think that's why we go against the grain in this community and in the Selfish Sisterhood. We do things differently. We think things differently because we've had the time to really sit and see why we're thinking and feeling certain ways and talk things out. And it's just really beautiful to even come to that realization of just like, wow, what a silly world we live in, that dollar signs are what we put our value in. And I know you're probably listening to this and you're like, yeah, Jess, have you not lived in this society for 35 years? Yes, I have. And I see it, but I'm starting to see it differently. And I hope that the world can follow suit in that. So it's hosting these retreats is just one of my absolute favorite things to do. And I will say from this weekend itself, I have two moments that I think I loved the most. One of them, watercolor painting with ocean water. Watching the girls struggle to get their ocean water was real fun. And if you're listening to this and you're at the retreat, you can remember that moment, because it was just like the tide was out and it was like, I was like, this was silly. This is never going to work. But a couple of the girls were able to get the water and helped us to just, fill everyone's cup so we could paint with seawater, which was just so much fun. And also we had our breath work at the end. And I like to put it at the end to give us some time to build up to that transformation. And whoa, I knew I was going to have a release. I want to be in it too. It's one thing to host these events. I think when it comes to some of these things, to really be present and to be in it and to have an emotional release too, it helps me to stay on the same level of everybody in the room and not be like, I'm the retreat host and I'm just going to watch you and do as I say, not as I do. And that is just not the energy I want to bring to these retreats. I wanted to be in it. And I also knew I needed a good cry, because I haven't had a moment to do that since having my little baby. And so obviously I knew I was going to cry, maybe even just to process some of the trauma of birth, right? Physical trauma of birth, all of the things. But I had this moment where she asked us to visualize a couple things, and she asked us to visualize love, this feeling of love, and then like pulling that into our hearts. And I just pictured myself like laying on my side with my little babe and just like this newfound love that I had as a mom. And then she asked us to visualize a moment that we were proud of. And I have let voices get inside my head of things that I should be proud of, that I've worked really hard for, and maybe other people's opinions might see it differently, and that has clouded my vision. And this was the first time I could kind of break through and heal from that and be proud of executing a large in-person event, Speak Up last year, like really to stand in that and to be like, wow, like I pulled that off. Like that's really freaking crazy. And to be hosting this retreat, 3 months postpartum, and in a world that tells you that you're crazy for doing that, right? There's so many projections that come from the outside space, like, hey, can you really do that? And it's like, I'm already questioning myself. Like, can we also not put that pressure and question other women? Like, let them try, let them be there, let them see if they can do it, right? And the last moment that I just found really, really powerful was in this final vision where she asked us to look at the future and what do you see in the future and pull that energy into your heart. And I just pictured us at our little guy's graduation day. Ooh, I'm going to be emotional even as I think about this, because I have never visualized, and you know this, if you listen to this podcast for a while, a family, children. It's always been bigger stages and bigger events and more people and more business and blah, 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 right? All of the things. It's always ever been business. It has never been a family. And for the first time, I visualized my son's graduation day and Glenn and I with gray hair watching him cross the stage, and him just being such a kind and joyful, sweet human. And that was my first time seeing a future and picturing a goal that wasn't business related. And yeah, I'm even emotional thinking about it as now, because it just really threw me off. Even though I knew that everything's changed and how I see things and how I want to do things has changed, it was the first time that, I allowed there to be transformation in me, to slow down and to see the future that I want. And it was actually, family versus it being business. And it's just been a really beautiful week of seeing things differently when it comes to the future of this business, the future of this podcast, the future of just like everything, because everything's changed. And maybe you see that in your life too, where you're just like, this isn't where I visualized life could be or would be. I see things so differently and I want things differently than I did before. It makes me freaking nervous and really scared, but I'm open to it. I'm ready for something different. And it's just been a really eye-opening week. And then coming home, where I normally have like a couple days to potato for a while, I could not potato. I have a potato that I have to take care of now. And it's just like right back into mom mode. Like the second you get home, we're right back into mom mode. And I think that's why I feel so behind, is because I just haven't had time to process retreat, to wrap up retreat, and to get into it, and then just be behind because I only really get this pocket on the weekend to get things done. And so it's been a journey. Like, it's been a really wild journey. And then within 24 hours of wrapping up the retreat, we sold out Barbados. Like, I had 2 spots left, I think, going into the weekend, and I didn't want to promote or push them out on social media because I'm a firm believer in who is meant to be at the retreats is going to be there. Like, that is the truth. So I don't like to push too much and sell spots just for the sake of selling spots. I want the right people to be there. And so I just said, you know what? We're going to put a pause. We're not going to share it. Who's meant to be there is going to be there. And they were picked up within 24 hours of wrapping up the retreat. And I'm really, really excited for next year's Barbados retreat. The house, the vibe, the energy, and like the energy that comes in these weekend retreats is so great. But spreading that through a week of like having space for rest and a whole week of being with women is just next level. Like, I didn't think I could pull it off last time. And boy, was I wrong. The magic that comes in a week retreat is incredible. And if you're listening to this and you're like, wait, what? It's sold out already? I had a few people who were like, oh man, I didn't realize it was going to sell that fast. It sold out really, really fast. And if you want to get on the wait list, there are chances that spaces can open up anytime. Things change, life changes, and it is a year away. So get on the wait list. I'll put the information in the show notes for you. Maybe a spot will open up. Maybe I can figure out a way to get more people there. I really don't know. Even in my head, I was like, well, maybe I should do 2 back to back. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I'm a mom. I don't think I can leave my kid for 2 weeks. 1 week is probably going to be enough strain on my husband, let alone, I'm going to host 2 back-to-back retreats. No, we're not going to do that. But I could potentially, if there's enough people on the wait list and enough interest, I could maybe try to figure out how I could figure out adding more people. I don't know yet, but I'm always open to trying things out and figuring things out. So if you're listening to this and you're super interested, let me know, and also get on the wait list, and I'll see what I can do, my friends. I have just never been more grateful for the life that I live than, last weekend being able to see both and bring both of my worlds together as a mom and to have my little babe there with me and just wow. Like, it was a really beautiful, eye-opening moment for me where this life that I honestly could never visualize and only ever saw like motherhood in the stress and the lack and like pulling your hair out craziness, and not in this opportunity for there to be both, was really cool. And the focus lately has been on building a business that I can do alongside having my son and doing it in a way that feels really good, and hoping that I can inspire other people to see the beauty in both sides and not just like the difficult and dark moments of motherhood, and also the difficult and dark moments of entrepreneurship, right? To have both mesh together so beautifully. And again, there's a lot of things in the behind the scenes that don't always get light, like the community and the people who I can lean on to make that happen. This is not a Jessica show. Like, there are a lot of people who help to make these things happen. And even this podcast right now, for my husband to be out with my baby, that's the only way we can make this happen. And it is not all eyes on Jess. How is she doing it all? I am not. There is a strong group of people who are behind me, and also the women in my community are so understanding and so loving, and it's just a mesh of it all together. And if you're listening to this, you're like, I want to host retreats, I want to have a community of women like that, you can 100% do it. Regardless of your circumstance, regardless of what you're going through, regardless of anything, you can make this happen. It just might look a little different than what you had thought it would, because it sure does for me. And I'd love to help you to get to that place. Maybe that's joining the Selfish Sisterhood and surrounding yourself with these women and starting to see yourself in this light, or maybe working with me one-on-one. I have one spot that's open for June. I'm slowly every month bringing in clients because it has to be a slow process because I'm still adjusting to life in this season. But there is a spot open, and if that's something that interests you, I'll also put the application form in the show notes for you to be able to check that out and set up a call with me to see if it's a right fit. But this has just been a really, really beautiful and wild season. And if anything, motherhood, I think, has made me softer in the way I really needed, and softer in business, softer in these retreats, softer in just so many different ways. And I'm just really grateful. Really, really grateful. I'm really grateful for you for listening to this episode, even though I feel like crazy all over the place, and really grateful that I can sit here and do this podcast because, it's just this awesome, awesome experience. And if you saw the retreat highlights online, you saw the You Are Magic sweaters I'm wearing it right now. I'm putting together the pre-order link for you to be able to grab yours too. It is so cute. I was even wearing the You Are Christmas Magic sweater this morning because I have two. And it's nice to have a sweater that's not just Christmas branded, so we could wear it year round. And some of the other sisters who have Christmas sweaters on the morning club, I also saw them wearing their Christmas sweaters too. We wear those year round, but maybe those are more of like the inside the house sweaters, and these You Are Magic ones will be like the outside the house sweaters. So not everybody knows that we're repping Christmas all year round. Okay? Maybe. No shame if that's your game, but maybe it's time that we get another sweater too. So that information will be coming for you soon too. But I hope that you're having a wonderful week. Thank you for your grace and your patience with this podcast lately, because we're still navigating, figuring out how to execute this, how to make this happen. But it's coming together, and I'm just so grateful for you as a listener and grateful for this community. And I hope you have a wonderful week. I love you so much.
What's up, sis? I am so glad we could hang out today. If you love this episode, send it to a friend or share it on your social media and tag me so I can personally thank you for helping me sprinkle some confidence in the world. And don't forget, you are magic. Let's show the world your shine.